Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham karoti vachanam pangam langyate girim yat kripatamam vande Shri Gurudinataranam Paramanandam Madhavam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnaşthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravane Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunavadi Paschachade Shatarane. Hare Krishna, thank you for joining. So we will resume our discussion from the seventh canto, seventh chapter, sixth canto. Indra offends his spiritual master, Brahaspati. This chapter is taking a little bit longer because Prabhupada has fairly elaborate purports, and at the root of it, it covers a subject that Prabhupada rightly deems as important for practicing devotees, which is the relationship between a guru and a disciple. And it also covers practical aspects of genuine repentance, causes of offending a guru, impact of offending a guru. So covers a topic that is very relevant to practicing devotees, because ultimately, so it's those who follow Krishna consciousness, they kind of fall in three categories, right? So there are those who follow it culturally because their parents were doing it, or somebody they respect asked them to do it. So their consideration is that I have all these things, and once in a while I will give something to Krishna, right? And they're essentially influenced by sadhu. Then there are those who follow in a more with more determination, and they have this conception that I have all these things and I want to offer it to Krishna. So these are the sadhakas, people like us, and essentially what makes them move to the next level is guru. And they take shelter of a bona fide guru, and under the instruction of the guru, they develop this desire. They may not have the emotions, but they have the desire and the discipline to for Spratavyor Satatam Krishna Vismarturna Jatuche Sarvavedi Nisheda Shor Etayoreva Kinkara. So that they want to develop that mentality of the sadhakas, that I should always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So these are the ones who have taken shelter of sadhu and guru. Right? And then there are those who consider that everything belongs to Krishna and Krishna belongs to them. And so the difference is that the sadhakas, they still have that notion that this belongs to me, that I'm offering my house to Krishna, I'm offering my wealth to the Vaishnavas, I'm offering my time. So there's still that notion is that it belongs to me, but because of the influence of the guru, they also have this, they're trying to develop this discipline of offering it to Krishna. But when they reach the third stage, and at that time, so it is guru, sadhu, and shastra. That's by the time all three come in picture, and the notion then is that everything belongs to the Lord. The perfection of my life is to take some water from the ocean or the river and offer it back. So Indra, he considering his position, he belongs to the highest cadre of a disciple. Like at other places, we see how he quickly surrenders to the desire of his spiritual master. Right, and we'll see in this chapter also he does the same. So he belongs to the highest cadre of the second devotee, the practicing devotee. Now he's not a perfected devotee, but the stage of the spectrum of a practicing devotee is fairly wide. All the way from Shraddha to Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, all the way till there the spectrum is wide. And Indra belongs to that, but he belongs to a more mature state of a practicing devotee. And because Prabhupada sees that synergy. Now, we are obviously no Indras, right? We don't have the level of surrender that he has for Brihaspati, and we don't have that level of realizations. But still, Srila Prabhupada sees that synergy, practicing devotee, relationship with Guru, because of material contamination, possibility of offending a Guru, how to extricate from Guru Aparadh, consequences of Guru Aparadh, right? So Prabhupada writes elaborate purports. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur writes elaborate purports on this. So we're taking a little bit of time to go through this. And also judging from our discussion in the past, it's also something that is churning from a practical perspective, realizations amongst us. So moving on to our discussion so far, what we have seen is that the chapter opens with Indra failing to respect Brihaspati getting upset, but not saying anything. Simply he goes away. And then we see immediately Indra's genuine lamentation. Then we see the consequence of Guru Aparadh, verses from verse 18, next three verses, about how the demons, they understand that without a guru, the position of the devas is very weak, and they attack the devas, and the devas are actually bewildered, and the devas approach Brahma. Okay, so that's where we stopped last time. We'll start from verse 21, which is Brahma's conversation with the devas. Okay, so verse 21. Shri Brahma Vacha Ahobat Surasreshta Haya Badram Vahakritam Mahat Brahmastam Brahmanam Dantam Aishwaryana Bhayandatah. Lord Brahma said, O best of the demigods, unfortunately, because of madness resulting from your material opulence, you failed to receive Brihaspati properly when he came to your assembly. Because he is aware of the Supreme Brahman and fully in control of his senses, he is the best of the Brahmanas. Therefore, it is very astonishing that you have acted impudently towards him. So Brahma begins by chastising the devas, right? So Prabhupada in the purport writes that when Brihaspati entered the assembly of the demigods, they and their king Indra took him for granted. Since he came every day, they thought they did not need to show him special respect. As it is said, familiarity breeds contempt. Being very displeased, Brihaspati immediately left Indra's place. Thus, all the demigods headed by Indra became offenders at the lotus feet of Brihaspati, and Lord Brahma, being aware of this, condemned their neglect. Right? So, Prabhupada picks up on the core reason of why Indra disrespected Brihaspati because of familiarity. I was listening to one of the lectures by Ramapat Maharaj, and Maharaj very rarely is critical of his god brothers. But this particular situation, I think somebody asked him, how did you get the name Romapad? And he was talking about how one of his god brother, who I think at that time was either the secretary of Srila Prabhupada or had some kind of relationship with of power with Prabhupada. Prabhupada had given the name Ramapad, and he had either miswritten it or whatever, and he said Ramapad. So Prabhupada said, no, it's not Ramapad, it's Ramapad. And the Maharaj says that um, the Guru is saying something, and the disciple, out of over familiarity, insults the Guru and says, no, you're not wrong. It is actually Ramapad. And in front of everybody. And Prabhupada being Prabhupada, he said, okay, and went forward to it, right? So, so Maharaj notes that because of some familiarity, he developed a contempt in his relationship with his guru, and because of that, very soon he left. He left his practices. He left the movement. And so Prabhupada was also very careful generally that in terms of people who were very close to him, he would not allow them to stay for a long time because of this reason, that in their early stages of devotion, they were not able to make this distinction between the position of a guru and the position of the person that they're becoming familiar with. In the 10th canto, chapter 84, Narad Muni instructs Vasudev, the father of Krishna. And so this conversation is happening at Kurukshetra. So Narad Muni says that in this world, familiarity breeds contempt. For example, one who lives on the banks of the Ganges might travel to some other body of water to be purified. He gives an example of how, disregarding the fact that people come all over to take bath in Ganges, a person who lives on the banks of Ganges may go to some other river, because for him Ganges is flowing every day right there. So this is the chastisement. So it's not that, so it's a symptom that is being presented, but it is not being justified. Right? It's not that Prabhupada is saying, or Narad Muni is saying, that yes, it is acceptable that familiarity breeds contempt. Right? But it is being called upon as something that one needs to be careful, especially if they are not mature in their devotion. In one of his morning walks, Srila Prabhupada notes, and this was in Mayapur, he quotes Chanakya Pandit. He says, Lalane bahavo doshas tadane bahavo gunaha tasmad mutram cha shishyam cha tadaye na tu lalaye. Right? So the translation is, if you chastise your son or disciple, he will improve. And if you say, oh, you are all right, then he will degrade. Therefore, you should always chastise your son and disciple, but never flatter. Right? So this is the mood of Lord Brahma. That even though he is affectionate towards Indra and the Devas, even though ultimately he will give them a solution, but he begins by chastising them for their own benefit. And if you look at the chastisement, he is presenting both sides. He's saying that you made the fault of not receiving Brahaspati when he entered your assembly. Right? Then the Devas might say, but he's coming every day to the assembly. And it was a cultural assembly. He probably should not have come. So then he says that Brahaspati is fully in control of the senses. He is the best of the Brahmanas. He is aware of the supreme Brahman. Right? So he calls out these three qualities. So the point that he's making is Brahaspati cannot be in the wrong. What is astonishing is the way that you acted towards him. And so we see that Brahma is not trying to mollycoddle the devas also. Yeah, I understand Brahaspati coming every day is not a good thing. And, it was a cultural program, the Apsaras were dancing. Maybe Brahaspati should not have come. He's not saying all that. He's very clearly saying that Brahaspati is fully in control of his senses. So he cannot make a mistake. He is the best of the Brahmins. He is fully aware of the Supreme Brahma, right? So these three qualities he's saying means that Brahaspati cannot make a mistake. What is the other thing he's saying is that a person at this platform should always be given respect. So that's why he's saying it's very astonishing that you acted impudently towards him. Next verse 22. Tasyayam anasyase parebhyo vaha parabhava prakshinebhya swavaribhya samradadanam chayatsuraha. Because of your misbehavior towards Brahaspati, you have been defeated by the demons. My dear demigods, since the demons were weak, having been defeated by you several times, how else could you, who were so advanced in opulence, be defeated by them? So Brahaspati is the personification of intelligence. I'm sorry, Brahma is the personification of intelligence. And so he's very intelligently making this point that consider fact A, that in the past you have always been defeating the demons. Consider fact B, that you yourself are very advanced in opulence. So your defeating the demons is not an accident. Consider fact C. Now you have been defeated by the demons. So D, the conclusion is that the only reason that you have been defeated by them is because of your anayasya. Anayasya is because of your misbehavior, because of your ungrateful activity towards Brahaspati. Right. So he's disambiguating any other notion that maybe the Asuras had new strategy at this time. Maybe the defeat was coincidental. Maybe we need to re-engage, get better weapons. Saying no. Considering these three facts, you have to understand there can be only one conclusion, that you have been defeated by the demons because you have committed Guru Aparadh. Okay, verse 23. Magavandvestah pasya prakshinam gurvatikrama samprate upachitan bhuya kavyamaradya bhakteha adaridan nilayanam mamapi bhrugudevataha. O Indra, your enemies, the demons, were extremely weak because of their disrespect towards Shukracharya. But since they have now worshipped Shukracharya with great devotion, they have again become powerful. By the devotion to Shukracharya, they have increased their strength so much that now they're even able to easily seize my abode from me. Right? So Brahma is presenting both aspects. He is presenting the disastrous results of Guru Aparadh. He is also presenting the positive results of Guru Kripa. Right? So he's saying you disrespected Brahaspati, so you are weak. In the past, the demons had disrespected Shukracharya, so they became weak. So clearly that correlation has been established. Now he talks about the other side, that the demons, by the worship of Shukracharya with great devotion, have now become powerful. And because of their devotion, he says, how strong are they? That they can, if they want, they can even seize Brahmalok from me. Forget about Svarglok, which is a lower planet. Brahmalok is the highest planet, right? So he is talking about the potency of Guru Kripa, right? By comparing it with the disastrous result of Guru Aprad. So here, Brahma, he refers to Shukracharya as Bhrigu Devata. Bhrigu Devata points to the fact that Shukracharya is the son of Bhrigu Muni. The Bhrigu Muni, as we know, is one of the 10 sons of Lord Brahma, Manasputra. So Bhrigu, he married Khyati. And Khyati, as you know, is the daughter of Devahuti and Kardama Muni. So Devahuti is the daughter of Swayambhavu Manu, and Kardama Muni is one of the mental sons of Brahma. So we studied about them in the third canto. So when they married, they had 9 daughters, and one of the daughters is Khyati, and Khyati married Bhrigu, and Shukracharya was born. So Shukracharya is considered as the presiding deity of the planet Venus. The Venus in Vedic astrology is considered to be the planet Shukra. Now, Brahaspati, he is the son of Angira Rishi. So Angira Rishi is also one of the sons of Brahma. And so in this way, Angira Rishi and Bhrigu Muni are brothers, because both of them are born from the same father. Both of them come from Brahma. Now, Angira Rishi married Shraddha. And Shraddha is one of the 9 daughters of Devahuti and Kardama. Right? So we can see the relationship between Brahaspati and Shukracharya, that their mothers are sisters and their fathers are brothers. So essentially they are what we would call as first cousins, right? But both ways, both from the paternal side and the maternal side, right? Bhrigu and Angira are brothers, and Khyati and Shraddha are sisters. Shukracharya also has, so this is what the Bhagavatam says. Different Puranas, they also identify Shukracharya a little differently. In some Puranas, Khyati is considered to be not the daughter of Devahuti and Kardam, but the daughter of Daksha and Asikni. So this is Daksha 2. Daksha 2 married the daughter of Prajapati Viran, Asikni. So there are different Puranic accounts of it, but we go with what the Bhagavatam tells us. So it's also noted, and this is not in the Bhagavatam, this is coming from one of the Purans, that Shukracharya and Brahaspati, they were in the Gurukul together. So they were in the Gurukul of Angira Rishi. So Angira Rishi is Brahaspati's father. However, Shukracharya felt that Angiras was favoring his own son. So he was giving him more importance, he was teaching him with more attention. So feeling insulted and neglected, Shukracharya left. And later he joined when Brahaspati became the guru of the Devas, because by that time he had become inimical or envious to Brahaspati. He became the guru of the asuras. So in some texts, it's noted that when the Devas elected Brahaspati as their guru, Shukracharya became bitter, and because he also had aspirations to become the guru of the Devas. But when the Devas went to Brahaspati for shelter, then Shukracharya became bitter, and he took the asuras as his disciple. In some Puranas, it's mentioned that Shukracharya's mother, now it's either so Khyati or whether it is Khyati, the daughter of Devahuti, or Asikni, was killed by Lord Vishnu. So because of that, and there is a pastime related to that, but because of that, Shukracharya became inimical towards Lord Vishnu. So he became strongly opposed to Lord Vishnu and the Devas. Actually, Shukracharya is more learned than Brahaspati. Brahaspati is also the presiding deity for Jupiter. So Shukracharya is actually considered to be more learned in the scriptures. He also has more yogic powers. So he performed severe austerities, pleased Lord Shiva, and he received the Sanjeevani Vidya, which was not available to the Devas. And then much later, Kach, the son of Brahaspati, he went and became a disciple of Shukracharya. And that pastime comes in Sharmishta's pastime, that Sharmishta, the daughter of Shukracharya, she developed romantic feelings for Kach. But Kach did not want to, he was just focused on getting the Sanjeevani Vidya, which he actually got. And then when he left, then Sharmishta became angry and cursed him. And Kach, so she cursed Kach that you will never experience love in your life, which turned out to be true. And Kach also cursed Sharmishta that even though you're a daughter of a Brahman, you will not get a Brahman as a husband, which also turned out to be true because she marries a Kshatriya Yayati there. So yeah, just a little bit interesting antecedents of these two great personalities. Okay, so let's move on to verse 24. Pishtapam kimaganyate abhedya mantra briguna manushikshastritah na vipragovinda gavaishvarana bhavantya bhadrani nareshvarana. Because of the firm determination to follow the instructions of Shukracharya, his disciples, the demons, are now unconcerned about the demigods. In fact, kings or others who have determined faith in the mercy of Brahman, cows, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, and who always worship these three, are always strong in their position. Right? So it is said that there are 4 ways to conquer an enemy: by Sam, Dan, Danda, and Bhed. Right? So causing so the devas, they may say that based on what Lord Brahma is saying, we have no hope, that we have disrespected our guru, they have worshipped their guru, we are in a weak position, and they are in a strong position. So Brahma here is saying that there is still hope. What is the hope that he is presenting? He is saying that those who are merciful to cows, brahmanas, and Vaishnavas, they can still hope to reach. So, uh, uh, in this confrontation, Sam is not possible. Pacification, because asuras are so envious of the devas. Dan is not possible because they already have everything the devas had. Dand is not possible because the devas are weak. So the only thing that is possible is divisiveness. What is the divisiveness that Brahma is indicating over here? That the strength of the asuras is because of the worship of Brahman. If you also worship Brahmins. And he extends that not only Brahmins, but Vaishnavas and cows. Essentially, if you please Krishna, then you also have access to the same opulence that the asuras have. Right? So essentially, divisiveness is being presented by Brahma over here. Okay, verse 25. Tadveshwarupam bhajata suvipram tapasvenam tvajastratamavantam sabhajito arthan na vidashate vo yadi kshamakshya advam utasya karma. O demigods, I instruct you to approach Vishwarupa, the son of Twastha, and accept him as your guru. He is a pure and very powerful Brahman, undergoing austerity and penances. Pleased by your worship, he will fulfill your desires, and provided that you tolerate his being inclined to the side of the demons. Right? So, Brahma is presenting this path of divisiveness, saying that just like they have drawn their strength by taking shelter of a qualified Brahman, you draw your strength by doing the same. Now, Brahaspati has disappeared. Right? So it's said that Indra tried to with all his mystic powers, trying to see where Brahaspati is, but Brahaspati he was even more powerful. So he remained hidden from Indra and all the devas. So Brahaspati is not available, but here is another Brahman who is comparable to Brahaspati. This is Vishwarup, the son of Twashta. Right? So Brahma is glorifying him that he is a very pure, he is a powerful Brahman. He is performing austerity and penances. He is compassionate because he is pleased by your worship. Okay? But he is also presenting that there is one shortcoming, that he is inclined to the side of the demons, and the reason is that um, is that Vishwarupa's mother belongs to the dynasty of the demons. So Kashyap and Aditi, they have Twasta as their son, right? So he's coming from, he's the son of Aditi, so one of the devas. And he has not the same. Kashyap is the father, and their mothers are sisters, Aditi and Diti. So one way they're blood relation, right? Same father means that they are stepsisters, and mothers as sisters, meaning that they are cousins. But yet they marry, and we see different instances of also brother sister marrying Kshatrupa and Swayambhavu Manu, or Lord Vishnu Yajna marrying a sister. The understanding is that the celestials are not bound by the conventional rules of morality, right? Because they have different um, um, different forces at play. But the takeaway is that while Twasta, because of the fact that he is the son of Aditi, is favorable to the demigods, Rachna, because she is the daughter of Diti, is favorable to the Daityas. So Vishwarupa, from his father's side, is favorable to the demigods, and from his mother's side is favorable to the demons. So Brahma is alerting the devas of they have to be careful about this. So this ends Brahma's chastisement / instruction. So verse 26 Sri Sukavacha Tavevam Mudita Rajan Brahmana Vigatta Jvaraha Rishim Twastram Upavrajya Parishvajyedam Abruvan. Sri Sukadeva Goswami continued, thus advised by Lord Brahma and relieved of the anxiety, all the demigods went to the sage Vishwarupa, the son of Twashta. My dear king, they embraced him and spoke as follows. So in the coming 8 verses, is the conversation between the Devas and Vishwarupa. Next verse, 27. Srideva uchuhu vayam te titaya prapta ashramam bhadramastute kama sambadayatam tata pitranam samayochitaha. The demigod said, Beloved Vishwarup, may they be all good fortune for you. We, the demigods, have come to your ashram as your guests. Please try to fulfill our desires according to the time, since we are on the level of your parents. So, how are they at the level of his parents? Because Twasta is the son of Aditi. Indra is also the son of Aditi. And Indra is actually the oldest son of Aditi. So that means that Indra is the older brother of Twasta, which means that Vishwarup, the son of Twasta, is like the nephew or the son of Indra. Right? But the difference, of course, is that Indra is a Kshatriya by occupation, and both Twasta and Vishwarupa are Brahmins, right, which they will play later on. But we see the Devas being very diplomatic over here, that they're speaking very sweetly to Vishwarup, that may there be all good fortune for you. And they're also laying the base of, they have a suspicion that Vishwarup may say no. So they're laying the base to protect them against any denial. So they say that we come to your ashram as your guests. Right? So under the Vedic culture, when the guests come to your house, then one should not say no to the guests. Right? And this honor of the guests carried forward even in the age of Kali. There was the pastime of who was that? Who was the Vaishnav saint who actually he poked his eyes out with a needle?
Bilvamangal Thakur?
Bilmangala Thakur, thank you. Right. So we see in the pastime Bilmangala Thakur that while he was an advanced Vaishnav, he was also lusty. And then he goes to a town, he gets attracted by a young woman who's married to somebody, and he goes to their house, and then he basically says that I would like to spend the night with your wife. And the Grasta, they were so strongly in this Vedic tradition that they cannot say no to a guest, especially a Brahmin. He actually sends his wife to spend the night with him. But then Bilmangala Thakur, he feels bad about it, and he asks her to give her hairpins, which he uses to take away his eyes, because he thought, this is what is causing my offenses. We see the same thing in the pastime of Lord Nityananda, that the sannyasi who had come to live in the house of Lord Nityananda, he was the only boy. But then he said that, please give me your boy. And the parents of Nityananda, even though they were heartbroken, they said, this is a guest, this is a sannyasi, we can't say no. They gave away their son. So they're kind of setting that same paradigm that we are guests. And they're also saying they're like your parents. So both the ways, that somebody is like your parent, it's a duty to fulfill the desires, and if as a guest, more so your duty. Right? So please don't say no to anything that we will ask. Verse 28. Putranam hi paro dharma pitra shushurshanam satam api putravatam brahman kimmutta brahmacharinam. O Brahman, the highest duty of a son, even though he has sons of his own, is to serve his parents. And what to speak of a son who is brahmachari? Right? So they're strengthening their case with the kimuta, with the what if kind of a logic that if you were a grahastha, so for a grahastha, the duties become distributed. The grahastha has responsibility towards his own primary household, which is his own family, his wife and his sons. So they're saying that if you were a grahastha, if you had your own son, even then your duty would be to serve your parents. Now they've already established themselves at the level of his parents. But they're saying, but you're not a grahastha, you're a brahmachari. So for a brahmachari, the only purpose in life is to serve the parents. Right? So more so for you. As we see, they've made 3 points so far. One is we are guests. Second is we are like your parents. And third is that being a brahmachari, it is more so your duty to serve us. Okay, moving on to verse 29 and 30. Acharya Brahmano Murti Pita Murti Prajapatah Bhratama Rutapater Murti Mata Sakshat Kshitastanuhu Dayaya Bhagani Murti Dharmasyatma Tahi Swayam Agner Abhayagato Murti Sarvabhutani Chatmanaha. The Acharya, the spiritual master who teaches all the Vedic knowledge and gives initiation by offering the sacred thread, is the personification of all the Vedas. Similarly, a father personifies Lord Brahma, a brother, King Indra, a mother, the planet Earth, and a sister, Mercy. A guest personifies religious principles. An invited guest personifies the demigod Agni. And all living entities personify Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, and Prabhupada writes in the purport that according to the moral instructions of Chanakya Pandit, Atmavatta Sarvabhutani, one should observe all living entities to be on the same level as oneself. That means that no one should be neglected as inferior because Paramatma is seated in everyone's body. Everyone should be respected as a temple of the personality of Godhead. This describes the different ways in which one should respect a guru, a father, a brother, a sister, a guest, and so on. Right? So, based on the context that Indra is speaking upon, he is presenting himself. So he says, I am a guest. So a guest personifies dharma. Now he's not an invited guest, right? So he says an invited guest is like Agni, but a guest, which means an uninvited guest, personifies dharma, right? Then he's also saying that as a living entity, I am Lord Vishnu. Being at the position of a father, I am also Lord Brahma. So saying based on all these considerations that I'm standing over here representing Brahma, I'm standing over here representing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I'm standing over here representing the principles of Dharma. So you should be careful in terms of not wanting to disappointment. Okay, so we'll do one more verse, and after that I'll pause for any discussion. Maybe we'll do two more verses, then I'll pause for discussion. Verse 31. Tasmat pitranam artanam artim para bhavam tapasa panayam stata sandesham karatam marasi. Dear son, we have been defeated by our enemies, and therefore we are very much aggrieved. Please mercifully fulfill our desires by relieving our distress through the strength of your austerities. Please fulfill our prayers. Right? So we see the masterful way in which Indra is making his case. Right? When he first addressed Vishwarup, he addressed him as Tat. So Tat means one who is very, very close. Bhishma would address Arjuna as Tat. And Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he addresses Arjuna a few times as Tat. Tat means somebody that you have a lot of affection for. Right? So Indra is expressing his strong affection. Then he made the case of how because of various reasons, Indra is Vishwarup should take the request of Indra with gravity. Now he is presenting his pitiful condition. We have been defeated by our enemies. We are very much aggrieved, my dear son. Please be merciful upon us. Please fulfill our prayers. Right? So can you imagine if you just put yourself in this situation and somebody is so masterfully weaving a web around you, almost impossible to escape. And we see Vishwarup also, even though he will put up a protest, but Indra has already anticipated everything, right? So we'll see that Vishwarup does not have much chance to refute. So we'll do this last verse and then stop for discussion. Verse 32. Vrinimahe tvopadhyayam brahmistam brahmanam gurum yagyajasa vijayasyama saptanam stavatejasa. Since you're completely aware of the Supreme Brahman, you're a perfect Brahman, and therefore you are the spiritual master of all orders of life. We accept you as a spiritual master and director, so that by the power of your austerity, we may easily defeat the enemies who have conquered us. So now Indra, in giving the reason, is also protecting against a future argument. So Vishwarup might say that I am much younger to you. And Indra, anticipating that, saying that age doesn't really matter because your spiritual advancement is the real qualification. So what is the qualification? You're completely aware of the Supreme Brahman. Supreme Brahman. The one who knows the Brahman is the Brahman. And he says one who is a Brahman is qualified to be the spiritual master of all orders of life. Okay? Not for one who are younger to him, not for one who are asuras or Vishwarup might say I'm more inclined to asuras. No. Your qualification is that you fully understand the Supreme Brahman. Yeah. And Vishwarupa is also famous for his austerities. Prabhupada writes that one must approach a particular type of guru to execute a particular type of duty. Therefore, although Vishwarupa was inferior to the demigods accepted him as a guru to conquer the demons. Right? So here Prabhupada talks about the fact that Indra is also being transparent. And so he's saying that by your power, we may defeat the asuras. So Prabhupada essentially noting that the devas may not take shelter of Vishwarupa to make spiritual advancement, but essentially they're taking shelter of him to be empowered to defeat the asuras, which is what then we'll see that Vishwarup teaches them the Narayan Kavach, based on which they will defeat the asuras. Okay, so we'll pause over here, and a few more verses left. We'll cover them next, complete them next time. Also, the next chapter is actually the Narayan Kavach, and I was wondering if somebody can recite the Narayan Kavach. Does any of you recite the Narayan Kavach or familiar with the verses? I know there are a lot of recordings, but I was hoping that one of us can recite it, because essentially the chapter is just most of the chapter is just a compilation of the verses.
Prabhuji, I have never recited actually Narayan Kavach, but I can try if it is okay.
Okay, I prefer somebody had recited somebody has experience with the meter of the of Narayan Kavach. There are recordings also there, so
Sure.
we'll see. Okay. Any questions or discussions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Go ahead, Mataji.
So in one of the earlier verses, where you talked about Samadana, Bheda, and you said, the one way is to respect the Brahmanas, and so the demons were also respecting Brahmanas. So how do we understand that, Prabhu? Like, typically, for example, when Ravana's reign or Hiranyakashipu's reign, we see that those demons, the first thing they do is disrupt the Vedic system. Basically just going against the principles that you just laid out. How do we understand that?
So different circumstances, they have different sources of power. In this circumstance, the asuras, they acquired the power because of the worship of Guru. Exactly the same thing happens with Bali Maharaj, that by the worship of Shukracharya and the Brahmins, he becomes very powerful. But in different circumstances, Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu, they got the power based on the strength of their austerities, right? In some cases, they got the strength because of past piety. So ultimately, in those circumstances, because of the disrespect to the Brahmins, it led to their demise. In this particular case, and that's what makes this one of the most fascinating episodes, is that to the end, the asuras, they do not give up their faith in Shukracharya. They continue to worship their guru, which is why one of the things that we will see when we will further investigate the pastime of Vritasur is who actually won. That did Indra actually win, or did Vritasur actually win? Right. That's why this is one of the most fascinating pastimes, and it's really the Sukdev Goswami invests a lot in it. Right after the pastime of Prahlad Maharaj and Narsinga Dev, this is the second longest pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam, because it brings forth a lot of these subtleties.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. Ravi Prabhu, go ahead. Ravi Prabhu, you want to?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Two questions, Prabhuji. My first question is, like, as practicing devotees, we are all struggling with our
You're breaking up, Prabhu. I heard you only till as practicing devotees we're all struggling.
Yes, Prabhuji. So my first question is, uh, although we are making small progresses, how do we increase our faith towards our spiritual master? Because that is the ultimate this thing. By having that faith, we can chant better. Everything can revolve around our devotion to spiritual master. How do we ensure over a period we could consistently maintain or even to improve as we move forward in our spiritual journey?
It's a good question. I think in the interest of time, I'll summarize it in 3 points.
Sure.
Right. So the first point is by reading from the scriptures like this. And that's why one of the things that they mandate is Guru Disciple course, which talks a lot about what the scriptures talk about the position of the Guru. So that's one. The second is by following through the instructions of the Guru and seeing the impact of it. So when the Guru tells you to do something and when you do it, and then you see that how it is beneficial, right? And the third is by associating with those that have faith in the Guru. So by these 3 ways, we can successively increase our faith in our Guru.
Yes, Prabhuji. Second question, Prabhuji. Maybe my understanding is faulty here. Because when you mentioned divisiveness, that is advised to Indra. So it was mentioned that he need to, worship Brahmanas and do the yajna. In that, I was thinking divisiveness generally so far is, if he has done somehow, if Indra has somehow done, in a way that the relation with the demons with their spiritual master is damaged. Divisiveness, creating divisiveness among group. That is how I heard.
That's one understanding. But at least in this context, it is the divisiveness and the potency of the relationship, that the asuras were getting strength because of the potency of the relationship with the Guru, and Brahma was advising them to also develop the same kind of power by the potency of relationship with the Guru. So essentially dividing the source of power. Even though I agree with you, it's not like, Shukracharya's power came to them, but more from a general perspective, the power of a guru's mercy on the disciple. They were also, Brahma was saying, he also tap into it. That's
Yes, Prabhu.
the only way, right?
Yeah,
That's why.
because when I first heard, it looks like a genuine hard work performed by Indra to improve himself rather than reducing the other person. It seems more right way actually. What Indra has done to approach and try to improve himself.
It
Of
is.
course.
It
Yeah.
is. No, it is. So the thing with the devas are that they are strongly in the mode of goodness. So even though here Indra clearly wants to reclaim his kingdom from the asuras, he's not shy about it, right? He says, "This is
Yes.
what my motive is," but he's doing the right thing to do it, right? He's taking shelter of the Guru. He's genuinely in a position. Of course, later on he kills Vishwarupa, but his at least his mood so far is to do the right thing, and that's what Brahma's recommendation also is: do the right thing.
Yes. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so if there are no more questions, we will end over
Hare
here.
Krishna Prabhu, just one last comment.
Yes, Prabhu.
One of the case about when the guests come, that like in the Dasrat case, the Ram case, Vishamrita came and asked for Ram and Akshaman, and the Dasrat could not refuse as well.
Thank you. Yeah. And there are many cases where the position of the guest was given that in the Vedas, they're given that importance there. And interestingly, the uninvited guest is given a slightly higher position than an invited guest, whatever reasons. Okay, so we'll end here. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anand Puri Vaishnavind ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Thai Gaur Premanand, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.